a few Agincourt alumni that might join us today. I would expect that are going to join us on this call. So we have to say right off the bat, go Lancers.
You got it. Go Lancers.
Go Lancers. And hopefully Miss Amy Riddell, who may be she's kind of my sidekick that she shows up on pretty much on a weekly basis and cheers, go Lancers. So anyway. All right, so let's start talking about you. So you and I've known each other many, many, many years. You and I went to high school together, and you've turned into an amazing career doing some amazing things. So I guess I'll just do a little bio intro about who you are, what you do, how you help. So Todd Keirstead is one of the most sought after motivational keynote speakers and golf professionals in the industry. His ParaGolf Canada initiative that we're going to talk about. You are the strategic lead in the groundbreaking initiative that focuses on creating a pathway for Canadians of all abilities to advance in the game of golf, which I'm taking up, by the way. I'm actually getting better at the golf. You are a celebrity golf entertainer, and I have a little video that I hopefully am going to be able to show. So that you are a celebrity golf entertainer whose trick shot show is a combination of instruction, extraordinary hand-eye coordination, and feats of athletic agility that is unmatched by even the most gifted players. I'm just trying to make sure we went live. Hopefully we went live. It's not showing up on my LinkedIn. No, we are. Okay. Using a blend of talent, knowledge, and experience, Todd has become one of the most widely recognized for his golf trick shots and has performed with many, many artists, athletes, and entertainers. And actually, maybe even before we begin, I want to show, if I can, a little bit of a video of one of the things that you have done. And I hope this is brand new. I've never done this before. Never before on this is going to show a little bit of a clip of one of your videos. And so hopefully you can tell me, can you see that, Todd, like the screen?
I can't.
You cannot see it. Okay, so hopefully this will work, but this is you doing some of your magic.
Oh, I can hear it. I can't see it.
You can hear it. All right. So it's you performing at the Damon Allen Children's Autism and just doing lots of crazy things with a golf club. So anyway, so hopefully that showed, but I'm not sure if it did. Let me see if it worked again. It says share screen. Okay, just goes to show you technology, right? Anyway, so I'm going to make sure I just clear off of that. And if anybody just really screwing things up here, Todd, I don't know. Let's just, hopefully people can see us again. Where's Miss Amy so she can tell me if she can see us or not? What a mess. Anyway, okay. So you could hear golf clubs and golf swings with you usually taking some pretty crazy, daring swings off people's body parts.
Yeah, so I've been a golf professional for over 20 years. Grew up, I was a hockey player at the time in high school. You know, my ambition was to play in the NHL. Then had some bad hockey injuries, was actually scouted for University of Wisconsin for hockey, but blew my back out. They said damage goods, see you later. So I moved very nicely into the golf industry. My dad had me playing at a really young age, but at the time it wasn't cool. Golf was, you know, an old man's game, but then this guy named Tiger Woods rolled around and kind of made it fun. So got into the golf industry, found out that I had a very uncanny ability with some hand-eye coordination. Started hitting trick shots. Developed a very unique ability of hitting crazy golf shots through hand-eye coordination. So my career actually went a little bit sideways. Instead of, you know, I played for a little bit and then I got into the entertainment side of things. At that time, I got voted Trick Shot of the Year on the Golf Channel, been on ESPN, Sports Illustrated, got TMZ 4 different occasions, but let me tell you, not in a scandalous fashion, but by hitting golf balls with a lot of different celebrities. And it's exploded from there. I've had the privilege of traveling around the world, helping raise millions of dollars for various charities throughout that time. So everywhere from Japan, South Korea, Germany, Italy, UK, all through the US, the Arctic Circle, the game of golf has given me an incredible life. It's allowed me to see the world and doing something that I love by hitting a golf ball, making people laugh, and doing some good stuff with raising some money for charity. So it's actually turned into quite a fun career.
Yeah, and I mean, because I've seen some of the videos of the things that you do, that these some of these other athletes that you've worked with, the celebrities and things like that are really good at their sport. It just baffles them that you can do the things that you've done, like that you really literally knock a golf ball off a jock strap with a tee on it, or off someone's like
Yeah.
body part, right? So
the thing about it is, what's kind of cool is I grew up a sports guy. I grew up a lot of watching a lot of sports, and I see these individuals that I grew up watching and kind of idolizing, and then next thing you know, they're in the golf world, and now the tables have turned. Now they're asking me all these questions. How do you do that? Can you teach me how to do that? So it's kind of cool. It's fun, and as I said, I just get as creative as possible, and if somebody's willing, I mean, they're going to be put in a position where it's, I don't recommend anybody else doing it, but hitting balls out of people's mouths, hitting it off the top of their head, hitting it, you name it, we do it. But it's primarily all for the kids, and as I said, we raised a lot of money doing golf entertainment. So it's a lot of fun. It really, really is.
And it must have taken a bit of a hit with all this COVID stuff, at least here in Canada, anyway. Which is not really this is not your peak time here in Canada. Usually, you're traveling to the States, which is a little more open.
COVID, unfortunately, who I feel bad for is I feel bad for the charities. Charities, their primary fundraiser is either golf tournaments or galas, and both of them are group gatherings. And, back in 2019, I had 50 some odd events pre-booked, and I ended up doing 4. So, I can't say much that it hit me. It did hit me, but I feel more for the charities where the money is going to some incredible causes, and they're the ones that have taken the burden, I think, over this whole COVID.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me a little bit about you've got this what you're working on with ParaGolf Canada. Tell me about, how did this initiative get started?
So 2014, I was doing my entertainment show for a veterans hospital outside of Tampa, Florida. I had probably 60 wounded veterans, U.S. military, watching me. And to me, I thought it was just going to be a fun day of hitting golf balls, giving them some reprieve, some laughter. But what actually happened as I was hitting the shots, I was realizing that a lot of the shots I was hitting for pure entertainment value over the years were actually emulating the wounded veterans that were in attendance. So I was hitting golf balls blindfolded. There were individuals that were affected by mustard gas in the Vietnam War and lost their sight. I was swinging golf ball, hitting golf balls, showing the correlation between golf and tennis. Swinging with one arm. There were arm amputees. I was hitting golf balls standing on one leg amputees. I was hitting golf balls off my knees, double leg amputees, and even out of a Costco fold-out chair, individuals that were in a wheelchair situation. So it immediately turned the light bulb on to me that this wasn't so much entertaining anymore. It was more motivating and inspiring to these individuals, because I was showing them that maybe they can't play the game of golf the way that they used to due to whatever tragedy happened in the theater of war, whether it be Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, whatever. But I was showing them an adaptive way to play the game of golf. So I started a program where I was bringing people back to the game of golf who thought they've lost it due to their physical or mental situations, brought it back up to Canada. Then, because of the whole lockdown and not being able to travel for the winter, ParaGolf Canada has been a vision of mine for the last 6 years, that I was finally able to bring it to light because I had the time. So now we have members all across Canada, everybody from limb deficiencies, whether it be a leg amputee, arm amputee, whether it's somebody's in a wheelchair or a seated position, or neurological coordination, whether it's stroke, MS, cerebral palsy, Parkinson's disease, to intellectual, Down syndrome, autism, to even our first responders and wounded veterans, to sensory, being hearing and vision. So it encompasses a lot of people that maybe used to use the game of golf as a form of recreation that don't think they can. And to me, it's changing the mindset from I can't to I can. And being able to do all these crazy shots, I'm able to emulate most everybody's physical situation and do it in a good way that it kicks their ego, and they're like, I can do that. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You just need to be given the tools and to be shown that it can be done.
Yeah, and so even those people that used to be able to golf and modifying it for them, and those who want to be introduced to the game of golf, right? Those, like, because I've seen you work with like little kids
Yeah.
that may have never thought in a million years they ever would be able to do these things. So,
Well, you know what? It's such a family sport. Like, perfect example. September, I was flown into Calgary to work with Ryan Straczynski, and Ryan was one of the Humboldt Bronco survivors. Now, Ryan grew up playing the game of golf with his father and his grandfather, and he never thought the game of golf was an option to him. Now, with him being a paraplegic from the chest down, and literally because he's such an athlete, he's playing sledge hockey now, but within 10 minutes. I was getting him to hit the ball over 100 yards out of his wheelchair. Now the game of golf is an option for him again. Again, not the way that he used to play, but in the situation that he's in right now where he's successful and he feels comfortable. So whether it be, a grandfather that just suffered a stroke that wants to hit another golf ball with their grandson, to whether it's a child whose father or mother plays the game of golf and wants to use that as their form of recreation, that's what ParaGolf Canada is all about.
well, and I have a few friends that are like yourself, those golf pros that are out there. They really just want to be outside. They just want to be enjoying the weather, like you said, just having the moment out there. It's not necessarily just all about like making sure that you do so well. I mean, that's part of it, but like whatever your personal best is going to be, right? It's not necessarily about like, because that's been my insecurity, Todd, as you probably know. It's always like, well, I really want to hit it far and I really want to do well and I don't want to embarrass myself, has always been my reluctance, my fear of
You know what?
embarrassment. When people just get
Nobody,
out of the way.
nobody really cares how you play as long as you're not holding up the pace of play. But I've got individuals that, the game of golf to them in 18 holes might be 10 shots. But you know what? They're outside with their friends again for 4.5 or 5 hours, driving a golf cart, having the laughs, having maybe a couple of pops. Who knows? But it's giving them a purpose to get out of the house again. And that to me was what I'm doing to give back to anybody really that's out there.
And you've been doing this long before it became sort of like the popularization of diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
You've been championing this for years. Like, we've known each other a long time, and you've been doing this, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for years
you've
been doing this.
But thankfully right now it's the hot button topic, and you know what? It's gaining some traction, and it's good for people to know that they're not alone. And that's what I'm trying to do, is bring together a community to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, you have a situation that life threw at you, and let's pick yourself up, dust yourself off. You're not alone. Let's get you out there again. So that's what it's about.
So tell me about, you've met Prince Harry at the Invictus Games. Tell me how did that happen? Like, I know that was like a huge deal. So how did that happen?
So 2017, Toronto was awarded the Invictus Games, where 550 athletes from 17 countries came to Toronto. They were introducing golf as a sport in Toronto, and there's nobody really doing adaptive golf in Canada. So the organizer, Michael Burns, pulled me in and said, we need you to be part of our organizing committee. So I was part of the organizing committee for the sport of golf, had to do site inspections of the golf course to make sure that it was adaptive friendly, because there were individuals that were in a seated position playing the game. Then the day of the event, Prince Harry just happened to show up, and he was only supposed to be there for probably a half hour. He was there for almost 3 hours. It was a powerful thing for him. I had the privilege of spending about 45 minutes with him alone on the golf course, talking to him about how the game of golf is helping out our wounded military all over the world. And, everybody during the Invictus Games, Toronto, it was blowing up all over the news on how great of a guy he was. And spending that time with him, his heart is in the right spot. To me, he was doing it all for the right purpose, right reasons. There happened to be a paparazzi show up where there was, a couple hundred media people there, and he didn't even bother with the cameras. He was so focused on the individuals and so focused on the competitors, their family, their stories, that, he does this every day. But it was incredible to see. It was like he had blinders on, and it was all that he was acknowledging was the wounded, ill and injured soldiers and their family members. And it was great to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's also focusing so much on mental health and all that, and that inclusivity and all that other stuff as well, for sure. Yeah. And so
So
you've,
it,
yeah.
it was it was awesome. I was given a protocol on what to say, what I couldn't say, and that kind of went out the window after about 30 seconds because he was such a down to earth guy, and it was just like two people having a conversation together. So everything that you hear about Prince Harry in a positive light, it's 1,000% true, even more so.
Well, that's amazing. Yeah. You've worked with a lot of celebrities over the year. Remember, you work with, now I'm going to remember half of their names, but
Yeah,
you
by
rhyme
the
some of them off
yeah,
because there's some
the
big names out there.
Joe Carter, PK Subban, Tyler Seguin, Sylvester. Oh God, the list goes on and on. And it's I get asked to perform and provide entertainment at these charity events, corporate events, celebrity events. I don't know who I'm running into. Half the time I don't even know who's I'm being introduced to. And after the fact, it was like, do you know who that was? And I'm like, no. And I just hit a ball out of his mouth. Right. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah, I have to pinch myself at the end of the day because, knowing that we've made a difference, and also meeting the people, whether a celebrity or not, it's all about having fun and providing entertainment. That's what I do. Literally, it is an 8-minute show for 4.5 hours, what I put on at a golf tournament. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
And like within that time too, I know that there are some aspects of the motivational speaking, because that was, you do a lot of that stage, not performance, but you do stage on top of doing the golf. So tell me a little bit about what you were doing with like the motivational speaking.
Well, it's crazy because, I'm working with all these wounded veterans. I'm working with the Paralympians, all good friends of mine. And it was weird. One of my really good friends, he's a 3-time Paralympian that played for Team Canada sledge hockey. I would go to his motivational talks and be a part of it and have my little spin on golf, but I never really thought I had a story. And he was like, no, you've got a story. And I'm like, no, I just don't feel like I have a story. Then back in September 5th, 2016, I had a health issue where I went into the hospital and I was on the operating table, and I actually went into a code blue. Bells and whistles went off. I ended up flatlining. I was dead on the operating table for 4.5 minutes. They ended up inducing a coma, cut me open, got me going again. I woke up 23 hours later out of that induced coma. And it was in intensive care. I called my buddy up and I said, oh my God, I've got a story now. And that's what it took. So now I talk a lot about the value of time. Time is our most precious commodity. Time is our most valuable resource. But knowing those two things, time is the thing that we most often take for granted. We'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it next week. We'll do it next year. We'll do it when we retire. And chances are, there's a lot of times that doesn't happen. So again, relating things to sports, I always look at what's the most exciting time in sports. And the most exciting time in sports is when time's about to expire. In hockey, we pull the goalie, we throw the extra attacker out there. In football, it's the Hail Mary pass into the end zone. In basketball, it's the 3-point buzzer beater. In NASCAR, it's 4 wide going around the last turn. And the reason why they're doing it is because they know time's about to expire. And if we lived our lives, it sounds a little bit morbid, but if we lived our lives with the same sense of urgency as athletes are when time's about to expire, we'd be living life a lot more fuller. So a lot of my motivational talk is asking hard questions, asking tough questions, but putting in perspective the value of time, and not being afraid of death. I'm fortunate enough that my clock now is running forward where most people's are running backwards. So I'm blessed with that. I wake up every morning going, okay, what if today was my last day? How would I live my life? And you always hear the old segues. What would you do if today? There's so many things that little goes in one ear and out the other ear. But with the tough questions, it really gets you thinking about what would you do if today was your last day, and how would you live it? You probably get home and hug your child a little tighter. You would call your friends. You would tell people I love you more. You would enjoy meals. Nothing would be as rushed, and we kind of get caught in that rut again. And really, the only time that we fall out of that rut is when someone close to us unfortunately passes. And it kind of kicks our ass a little bit going, oh my God. And we start to think about that. And that might last for 3 days. It might last for a week. Then we go back into the same old rut again. So I don't mind knowing I died. I don't mind thinking about death, because to me, it actually makes me live a little bit more.
Well, I think it's those things, that those pieces of resilience in our lives that do make us stronger, that do make us appreciate more the things that we do have 100%. So
Absolutely.
sure.
And, you know, and with the COVID that we're going through right now, that hopefully we're going to be getting out of, you know, it made us, you know, there's a lot of mental illness out there. There's a lot of, you know, depression, things like that, that the media really isn't picking up on. But, you know I've become a lot closer with my family because of it, because, you know, we've kept our bubble really small and we appreciate the little things now. And I think when the doors do open, I think when things open up a little bit more, I think we'll all be more appreciative of how our lives once were, and knowing how nice it's going to be to go to a concert, or nice to get together with a large group of family members or friends. And I think we're going to value that a little bit more.
Here's hoping. Because I think to your point, I mean, I've been talking with so many different people about just how exhausted we all are. I mean, and it's far different than some of the, you know, the States and that kind of stuff where things have reopened and so forth. But I'm just, yeah, we're all just at that point now. We're like, come on, like we all just want to, you know, get back to like a normal life and get back to, but you're right. Like this whole pandemic has really had us stop to appreciate the things that we really ought to be like, not about getting out, and like work is important, clearly, but making sure that we're setting our priorities for, we don't get a do-over. You don't get a do-over when you get, you know, that's what I say all the time, you know, so you don't get a do-over.
I was lucky, I did, and
Yeah,
I got it over, and it was kind
that's
of
true. Yeah.
so Adidas filmed a documentary on my adaptive program 4 days before this whole incident happened. And I watched the video now and I think to myself, oh my God, that could have been a memorial video. And, you know, I had life literally, I had the biggest sporting company in the world doing a documentary on me. And literally 4 days after that, I was dead. And you just never know when your time is up. That's why I always tell people, you know, you got to live life to the fullest, whether you're stuck inside or whether you're in a lockdown. You know, don't just sit and friggin' waste your time. Do something at least productive for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
So what do you think are some of the misconceptions? Do you think there are misconceptions about what people think that you do? I mean, I guess there's like the mindset of, you know, he's the golf trick guy, like he's the trick guy, or like, so that's probably a big misconception that you aren't, excuse me, excuse me. I got a frog in my throat. Sort of championing these other causes, that you are really passionate about so many other different things. Like,
Well, at the time when, you know, when it was just trick shots, I was so far left, I was out of tradition's radar. Now trick shots have become cool. You know, you see them all over social media. But what a lot of people don't realize is the camera's rolling for 4 or 6 hours to get that one lucky shot that you see on Instagram. And really, there's only a handful of us in the world that can put on an hour-long demonstration in front of a live audience and not miss. So there's only a handful of us like that. But anybody who doubts what I do, I kind of hand them a golf club and I throw a ball at them. I say, hit it out of the air, and chances are they don't. But how it's parlayed into the adaptive golf, I just recently, as of last week, won a national award from the PGA of Canada for Community Leader of the Year because of it. So we're really starting to get some traction on adaptive golf and inclusivity. As I said, it's the hot button topic right now. There's inclusion and diversity task force that are happening out there, but I've been to a number of conferences, virtual conferences, over the last 2 years, and it's been, you know, there's been the first silo is gender, the next one is race, then sexuality, and then disabilities just kind of brushed over. So I'm just, you know, in the industry that I'm in, I'm just bringing it to the forefront right now. So it's kind of cool. And we just got started, and my God, we have over 300 members, and we're getting 2 to 3 members a day because they don't know that there's a community out there for them. And it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think because another friend of mine does it's inclusivity and for websites, and so it's really opened up my eyes a lot to the idea that we often overlook this kind of community that, and as you and I are aging a little bit, people are starting to like not be as well as they once were in the past and stuff like that too. So we forget that just because someone there's disabilities that people can see, obviously, and then there's disabilities that people can't necessarily see. And like to lose that group of people, not only is it not a good thing, but it's also financially silly to miss out on this opportunity of this group. Yeah.
The hardest ones I find for me personally are the individuals with the invisible injuries, the mental injuries. When I work with wounded veterans, you look at somebody and you see a fully functioning able-bodied person, but mentally, they've checked out. I have husbands, I have wives that call me up and say, can you get my husband or my wife out of the house? He hasn't been out of the basement for 2 weeks. And I remember doing an event where it was up near Barrie, so it was close to Borden, CFB Borden. And I brought a couple of friends out that I knew were having a rough time. And at the end of the day, one of them came up to me and said, thank you so much for having me here today. And I'm like, oh my God, it was a blast, because he was, heckling people and cheering and laughing. We had a great time. But he told me, he goes, I haven't been out of my house in 2 weeks, and you gave me a purpose to have a shower and get dressed today. And to me, I was like, holy cow. You don't know what's going on in somebody's mind. That's why, you got to step back a little bit. And when you see somebody that, you don't know what they're going through, as obviously you can see somebody with a leg amputee, you can see somebody with an arm amputee, you can see somebody in a wheelchair, and you're completely empathetic to that person. But you don't know what's going on to somebody who is functioning with an able body, but with a, with a cognitive injury. And it's tough. Those are the tough ones for me, because you can't see it immediately. So you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think we have somebody else joining us. I heard somebody. I thought I heard them. Oh, there she is. We're just inviting
that person.
There's a person
going on to somebody who
Amy
is
Riddell
with an able body, but with a, with a cognitive injury. And it's tough. Those are the tough ones for me, because you can't see
you know what, Amy, you might have to turn off. Yeah, you might have to turn something off. We can just hear the lag of Todd talking. Somebody else joining us. I heard somebody. Thought I heard them. Oh, there she is.
I have. Okay, sorry.
Do you have another dash? You had another.
I did. Yes, I did. Yes. Hi, Todd.
Amy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Congratulations on all your success.
Well, thank you very much. I've been watching the show. I don't think you've seen my messages, but I've been like piping in the occasional "Go Answers."
I don't know. None of the messages have been showing up, so I'm glad you popped in to ask. And Todd, any questions? Do you have any questions for Todd? I have another one if you want to take a moment to think about something.
Well, let me conjure up some good ones. You go ahead.
Okay. So my next question for you, Todd, is, so how did you start to realize you could do these trick shots? I mean, you were a hockey player, and then you just like started golfing one day, and then you were like, oh, look, I can do this. Is that like, how did that work?
Well, so I ended up turning pro for golf, and spending a lot of time practicing. It was, you got to put, the people that are playing golf for a living right now are on a whole nother level. It's amazing. So to get to that level, I had to spend a lot of time practicing, and then, spending 6-8 hours a day on the driving range, working and honing my game so I can make money. And then it was literally sheer boredom on the driving range. I needed a little bit of a mental break. So I started doing these crazy shots, and it just evolved from there. And I realized pretty quickly that, you know what, I do have a little bit of hand-eye coordination. Now I just, every year I got to come up with a new shot, because I go to events year after year after year. So, I'll walk through a hardware store and go, okay, what can I hit a golf ball with? Then I find something, I find a shot that I got to do. Then I got to figure out, a 5-minute story to it. I got to lead up to it, because it is a performance, and it's the whole segue to the show or to the shot that really interacts with the people. I pull people out of the crowd and get them interacting. And to me, it's all about showmanship and having fun. So it's not just hitting a shot. It's the whole build up and leading up to it that really, really makes the show probably I've been told one of the best in the world. So it's pretty cool to have that title.
Yeah. Amazing. Guess it, because I was so curious about like how you just started just goofing around and all of a sudden you just started swinging around and then you're like, oh, look what I can do. Look what I can do.
So the answer, and I always tell people the answer just for the quick, I always say drunk at a cottage. How about that one?
I'm really interested, I think you touched on this earlier, about like the transition from doing your trick shots and performing at tournaments and doing that to doing keynote speaking. Like, do you prefer one over the other now? Like once people kind of get on the speaker circuit, it kind of becomes a little bit of an addiction.
You know what it is? You know what? They're both addictions because you're performing in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
It's been challenging with COVID when having to do a keynote speech on Zoom or whatever, because you know it, Amy, you know it better
Yes,
than
I do.
it is tough because you don't get
The
back.
feedback.
Exactly. You don't
It's
have
like you're just
you know,
talking into the ether.
yeah, the personal connection, and it's tough. And you don't know if somebody has another computer going on in the background. You don't know if you have that attention. But if you're one-on-one, it's an addiction. It really is. Like you said, when you're talking in front of a couple hundred people and you're feeding off their energy, and it just flows right. And the same way when I'm hitting golf balls and the laughter is there and pulling people out of the audience, it's an addiction, and it's a lot of fun. It's a good addiction to have. It really is.
Yeah. No, that's great. Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the reason why I started this podcast in the beginning, and it was Amy and some of our other friends that really motivated me to do this, was because I just found that so many of the clients that I work with, it's really hard for them to step into their value, to own what they're really good at. And it sounds to me like you know what you're good at. So did you ever have like what sort of got you to that moment, or realizing that I do have a story to tell? Because like you said, like there was that little pocket of like, but I don't really have that much of a story to tell. You've been telling stories for years, like doing the trick shots before you actually had that keynote. So where did that shift happen? Like insofar as like owning the value of what you do?
You know what? That's still a hard one for me. And knowing your self-worth, knowing your value when someone asks you how much do you charge, that's a tough one, because I do so many charity events, and every charity is a great charity. But when knowing your self-worth and knowing that whatever, everything's going back to the charity, it's tough to do. But it's when you get that feedback from the audience, and when you've made a personal connection, and when people come up to you and say, oh my God, that was amazing. You made, and I don't want to have people come up to you changed my life. I'm not even that person. But when someone comes up to me and says, you made me think about things a little bit differently, then that's a success. I can tell people about the value of time, and people say you made a difference. But to me, it's if I can change a thought pattern in somebody to think about that, there's a sense of urgency in our life. It's not as long as what we think, and we all think we're invincible, and we're all getting up there in age, and I still think I'm 25 years old, and I go to the gym for the first time on Monday because we just got out of our little lockdown, and Tuesday and Wednesday I'm having a hard time getting up the stairs. So we're all growing old, but and I'm just blessed with my clock is running forward. Every day I appreciate it, because I've been given a little opportunities on life because of that. So, and I value that. I value that a lot. Yeah.
It's definitely, it's a common thing. I think Amy was like one of my first people that I interviewed on this little podcast, was really, since Amy hires so many speakers and things like that, it's like, we're all terrified before we get on stage. Each one of us are terrified. And then you're right. Like once you've done it, you're like, oh wait, I am making, because it's not about us. It's about the people that we're helping. I think that's the big shift.
Exactly. And that's why I think the Zoom and the online stuff is so tough, because you can't get that immediate reaction. You got a nod of a head, or you got whatever.
Oh, we lost him.
Well, I know where he was going with that. Yeah, I find that like with our like virtual events, which were very, very successful last year.
Yeah.
I can sit there and tell my stupid jokes, which you've heard. And at least when I'm on a stage, someone will be kind enough to like force a laugh, like usually Hans or someone. But you feed off that, and that makes you better. When you're doing it virtually, you don't know, like, there's no reaction. So as great as they are and as necessary as they were last year, I can't wait to get back to like real life.
I know.
Can you guys
We can hear you, Todd. We just can't see you.
Well, that might be a good thing. I have a face for radio.
We can only sort of hear you.
We can only sort of hear you. That's okay. We have a lot to talk about, me and Leslie.
I know. I'll just sit here and talk away.
I'll have a sip of my coffee.
So if he's probably going to log out and come back in. So tell us, Amy, about your background with your Valentine's tree.
Well, yes. Look, hold on. It's backwards. The beautiful Valentine's Day tree.
Yes.
That's an art of procrastination right there, because I didn't want to take it down because I love it so much. And so I went to a very exclusive boutique yesterday called Dollarama. And lovely pink boas.
Ça va.
I think it looks very pretty, and I'm quite happy with that. Look what I made for you, Todd, a Valentine's Day tree.
Oh my God. Is that a Valentine's tree?
Yeah, I just put it up while you were offline I did it really super quick just for you. Do you like it?
You know what? I used to live in Mississippi for the wintertime, and what they do down in Mississippi and Louisiana is they have their Christmas tree go up, Christmas decorations, your traditional red, green, whatever. Tree stays up, decorations go down, new decorations go up with purple and yellow to celebrate Mardi Gras.
Oh, yes. Yes. Have you been to Mardi Gras?
Oh my God, yes, I have.
I've been to New Orleans, which I love. It's probably my favorite city ever, but I've never been to Mardi Gras. Tell us about that.
So
tell us your dirtiest Mardi Gras story. Go.
Well, as you know, the city's not the cleanliest city out there. Especially when you get on Bourbon Street, but it was a bit of a gong show. So there's two occasions that I was down there for, and it was Mardi Gras and it was Halloween on Bourbon Street. It was just as crazy as Mardi Gras. But the thing about Mardi Gras is what people don't realize, that Fat Tuesday is the final day with it in New Orleans. But every weekend leading up to Mardi Gras, there's a parade in surrounding communities. So Mardi Gras literally goes for a month and a half. Then it has this final Fat Tuesday that happens in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, and it is literally a gong show. It is crazy. You have people on balconies throwing beads, doing whatever. But I got another one for you.
Okay.
Last weekend, people don't know about this parade, but last weekend, every year, Tampa, Florida has something called Gasparilla. And Gasparilla is the exact same as Mardi Gras, but it's in a warmer climate, and it's about pirates, because pirates take over the Tampa Bay area, and there's a pirate ship that comes in, and the mayor gives the key to the city. Next thing you know, Gasparilla goes, and it is just like New Orleans. It is over the top.
Oh, that would be fun. Our friend AJ lives down there. We should ask him if he's been to Gasparilla. And when was that? That was last week?
That was last weekend, yeah.
All right. So AJ, get your place ready. We're coming down next year.
Next year for Gasparilla.
You will love it. But yeah, New Orleans is a whole nother, it's an animal, as you know, Amy. It's a lot of fun. And there's so many different, I lived there, and everybody that used to fly in to come and visit me, because I lived in Mississippi just outside of Biloxi, everybody would fly into New Orleans because it was a one-way flight. So I would go pick everybody up, and I really got to know the neighborhood, to do tours and stuff like that. And it is a very, very interesting city. Even when you get out of the French Quarter, there's a lot of great little pockets in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's enchanting. Like, it just has a completely different vibe than any other city in North America. Save for maybe, like, I heard Key West is very similar in that it's you don't feel like you're in North America, but New Orleans, love.
Oh, great music scene. A couple of other places.
God,
you got Beale Street in Memphis. You have 6th Street in Austin, Texas. You have, Broadway in Nashville. All of these great music scenes in and around the country. It's cool to go visit them, and because of the job I do, I get to see a lot of them. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh,
Do you
very
miss the
cool.
travel? Do you miss the travel, Todd? I know Amy's missing travel.
Oh
Like,
God.
really?
I do like crazy. Like I got 2 COVID puppies out of it. So there we go. So that's a good thing.
Ooh. Oh my word.
Bring them on. Let's meet them.
Doors closed. I don't know. They go a little crazy. Let me see what I can do. But you guys keep on talking.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, I think a lot of people definitely got dogs during this time because
I did not.
No, you almost got a cat.
I thought about it, and then I thought better of it.
Well, it's tough because I mean, when you get back to traveling again, it's going to be
Which I will, hopefully. Like we're still planning on running our Orlando event in April. Right now, I mean, the fingers crossed that we can do it because it'll be like it's 2019 Chicago. 2019 was our last in-person event.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
really.
Now I remember the last time we got together. It was down at the Metro Convention Center for. It was Gene. Was it Gene Simmons was speaking?
No, you guys went to the Art of Marketing, and my Project World event was running upstairs. So you guys all came back to my. Remember, I had that big, huge suite. We had a big party.
The sweet.
Right.
Sweet.
That's right. That was the last time together.
I guess so. That was probably 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
I know. And to think we've known each other since Aging Court days, high school. In case anyone's watching, we all went to high school together.
Go Lancers!
Go Lancers! God.
Look at you two.
That's
you guys
cue. You're supposed to say go Lancers.
I thought you both would be wearing green right now.
We can sing the Aging Court song if you'd like.
We can sing it. I'm not going to sing it.
Come on.
Okay, so Leslie, I had a friend of mine reach out to me and said that you were teaching them. You taught them, Ashley.
Oh, yes. Yeah. One of my students. Yeah. That must have been a number of years ago too, for sure. Yeah. So
is that at Durham College? Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So Durham College and it's now called Ontario Tech. Sometimes teach there as well. So yeah. And then when Amy invites me to go on her, on her circuit tour, thankfully I get to go and hang out with her some more. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And I miss it too. I mean, I certainly miss getting out and seeing people. Part of me is kind of like glad that I can work from behind the computer and not have to go and see too many people. But
I miss it. I'm like, my boss and I were talking the other day and he goes, I would gladly get on a plane loaded with people with COVID just to go somewhere. He goes, I don't care. I just want to go. And I'm the same. Like, I'm just itching to get back out there. What about you, Todd? What do you have on the roster coming up? Do you have like...
You know what? Nothing right now. Actually, just before this phone call, I was talking to a gentleman in Uganda that wants to do a golf program. Like, Uganda? Then I did some research, and they've got some golf courses out there. So we might be doing something in Africa. I have no idea. Just at the introductory stages. But hopefully when this thing opens up, I've got a couple of events that I've had to cancel down in, it was supposed to be Orlando 2 weeks ago. We have one booked for just outside of San Diego in May. So fingers are crossed that the borders are opening up. We got a ton of stuff on the schedule for Canada from May to September. And then hopefully the traveling will kick in again and I can keep busy throughout the winter months as well too. But back just before COVID, I was hired by the U.S. Air Force and traveled around the 45 of their military bases, almost like the old Bob Hope USO tour, where I was entertaining their troops and working with their wounded veterans. Got to see the world with the U.S. Air Force. Then was down in Camp Pendleton, just outside of San Diego, where the Marines are at. Edwards Air Force Base, Andrews Air Force Base. So it was quite a tour, but it was a lot of fun. We had a bunch of entertainers come with us. I got to meet some great people. It gave me the opportunity to say thank you, because without the what they sacrifice and put themselves on the line, I wouldn't be able to do what I do, because they've given me the freedom that we have.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite course or like a favorite experience from either from speaking or a course that you played on? Is there any one that's
one of my best experiences was the worst golf course I ever played on, but it was the most incredible experience. I was in a town. It was actually a hamlet 600 miles north of the Arctic Circle on Queens Island, and it was a place called Olahuktuk. And it was
What a hook.
the most northern golf course in the world. So it was artificial turf greens. It was tundra for the fairways. The first shot I hit a shot then into the green, right on top of the flag, nice and close to the hole. It hit the artificial turf, bounced 30 feet in the air and 30 yards long. So I'm like, oh my God, I got to learn how to play again. But anyways, that experience there was the most northern golf course in the world. I played golf for 24 straight hours because it was sunlight. The sun just circled the sky.
Wow.
Played for 24 hours just to say I can do it. Then myself and a former hockey player named Jordan Tutu that played for the NHL. He is from up there, and he's treated godlike because he made it out. There's not a lot of people that make it out of their communities. And him and I did a tour of the Arctic, different communities, motivating the kids, working with the kids. And then him and I hit a ceremonial tee shot at 11:59 p.m. in Yellowknife to start a very famous tournament called the Midnight Sun Classic. And it's something that they play for 24 hours.
Wow.
So little things like that,
That's
best golf
pretty
course,
cool.
probably Pebble Beach that they're playing the PGA Tour event this upcoming week. Hawaii got some, there's golf's incredible. Doesn't matter where you're playing. Golf's great.
You know what I love about, I took up golf very late. Like my whole family golfs. My brother's a fantastic golfer. My dad was, blah, blah, blah. I had never any interest in it. And I picked it up in my mid-30s and I loved it. And that's the thing about golf as opposed to other sports. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, now that I'm like an old nanny, you can still like get really, really good.
The thing about
it's not like doing hurdles or something. It's like, it's something that, you know what I mean?
So the good thing about the game, it comes with its own handicap system. So Amy, you and I can go play golf and we can have a competitive round of golf at the end because there's a handicap system. There's not a lot of sports out there that provide a handicap system. If I'm playing baseball, they can't move in center field wall that I can have a chance to hit a home run. Or, if I'm playing hockey, I don't make the net bigger based on my inadequacies playing hockey. But in golf, there's a handicap system that creates a fair playing field. And the great thing about the game of golf is there's so much business that is done and so many opportunities that are done on the golf course. And I strongly recommend for any women that are out there to take up the game of golf because I do so many corporate events throughout the year, and what I'll see the maximum. There's usually 144 players there. Chances are there's 10 or 20 women there out of the 144. You can be a female golfer and have the confidence to get out and play, no matter what your ability is. You're going to be just thought of. They're going to love you. Just because of this, there's not a lot of women that are playing in corporate events. That is changing, but there's a lot of business and a lot of missed opportunities that women weren't getting because of the fact that they didn't play golf. So I strongly recommend getting into the game.
I love it. I shot a 72 once.
What? But then what did you do on
without a handicap, mister? That was like straight up. That was my best game ever.
Wow, good for you.
I didn't even
Look at you go. I'm not playing with, no, I'm just kidding.
No, I used to go every weekend though. And that's the thing. You have to keep playing. And I haven't played for a couple of years now, but I became obsessed one summer every weekend. I go and play at Uplands.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
You know that one? It's like built on a ski hill, essentially.
Yeah, a ski hill on Yonge and Highway 7 area.
407. Yeah, up at the 407. Yeah, it's a nice little track. It's 9 holes. I went around twice. But yeah, it's fun.
I want to go with you. We shall
I'll go with you.
Yeah, this summer. Let's go.
Go Lancers.
Go Lancers. It'll be the Lancer tour.
That's right.
But
Todd can come and visit us and hit golf balls out of our mouth.
There you
But that's what's held me back. And I realized I'm not so bad. I'm not horrible. I just went out this past summer and I was told I'm as bad as I think in my head. So I think that there's that fear that's still the fear of, I don't want to make a fool of myself. But to your point,
Yeah.
but it's like, just get out and have fun and don't.
No,
You know,
you have to golf with people who are just out to have fun. There's nothing worse than like golfing with like an ex-boyfriend of mine took it so seriously and it wasn't fun. You know, he'd get angry with himself, blah, blah, blah. He'd start swearing. It's just, you play better when you're all relaxed and feeling, you know, loosey-goosey with your girlfriends.
So I actually get asked to play in some pro-am tournaments where there's a professional and 3 amateurs or 4 amateurs that are playing. And every time I get asked to play in those events, I always say, put me with beginner women. And they look at me like well, why? You're not going to win. And I'm like, you know what? It's not about winning, but I know, you know, in the 4th hole, a bottle of wine is going to get pulled out of one of the women's bags. We're going to be laughing, joking around, where you play golf with people that want to win and they're throwing their golf clubs and they're doing, and I have no time for that. To me, I want to go out and have fun. And to me, it's about laughing and having a good time. And halfway through the round, people will be driving by us and we'd be the ones that are laughing and hooping and hollering. And they're going, oh my God, I wish I was with that group. And I'm like, see, you got to golf with ladies that just don't care. And it's perfect.
Well, I think that that's interesting. You say that, Todd, too, because I've heard this over and over again about how not only are deals being done on the golf course, but you really get to know who someone is when they're playing golf because of the etiquette of golf and the like. Are they someone who takes themselves too seriously? Are they blaming the clubs? Like, there's got to be this whole thing where like there's the psychology of, oh, okay, I see who you really are when you're playing golf, right?
Yeah, that's
interesting. Actually, that's very true.
I've done a couple of business courses on that exact thing, on characteristics that come out on a golf course and what you can see. And if I'm hiring somebody for business, I'll take them out and play 9 holes or play 18 holes because you know you have a pretty good understanding. First of all, after spending 4 hours with somebody, you know, you get to learn their family, you get to learn what vacation habits they have. You get to learn so much with somebody where, you know, they say golf is the 3rd most business meeting place, whether it's office, restaurant, then the golf course. But if you think about it, the golf course, you have 4.5 or 5 hours of focused attention with that individual. There's not a waiter or waitress that's constantly interrupting, bringing food, taking food away, bringing water. Chances are the phone's not going to be ringing off the hook, and you have a focused attention. And I always look at golf in business is don't be pitching on the golf course. Use that time to build the personal relationship, and then you can do the business afterwards because you have that personal connection with somebody. So I actually have a course that it teaches business how to do business on the golf course.
Well, are there sort of subtle signs? Because I haven't done this myself. Are there subtle signs, you know, from either one of you that, oh, okay, so this is kind of a tell that, you know, again, blaming someone else, like blaming the clubs for their bad performance that day might be a little bit of a tell. Oh, okay, so they're the kind of person that blames other people for mistakes and things like that.
That's the first one. You know, I have when I'm doing my trick shot demonstration, it's going, there's people going, there's laughter. To me, if somebody's using somebody talking with white noise, basically when someone's talking, it's white noise. If someone gets startled, like a sudden loud bang or something, I appreciate that. But with talking, with music, you know, but if people are using that as an excuse, there's a red flag. If somebody, you know, if I happen to be watching their score and they throw another number in there to make themselves better, there's another telltale. You know, if they kick the ball in, and to me, golf is not about rules, or it's more about just etiquette and having fun. But, you know, if somebody's constantly, you know, breaking the rules or fudging things, you know, there's little red flags there that you can kind of pick on to see maybe what that person's character is.
Yeah, because I've heard that quite a bit, but I haven't had that experience yet. So maybe
you haven't played golf with me yet.
Yeah, exactly. When Amy takes me out, I'll be like, oh, that's pretty
When I break clubs and kick the balls and
you know, doing whatever it takes for you to have a good time. And that's all that I tell anybody is throw the rules of golf out the window. But the only thing you have to worry about is the etiquette rules and your pace of play. If you can nail those 2 things, people don't care how good or how bad you are. They really don't. They're more worried about their own game than anybody else. So Leslie, the biggest thing for you is if you can keep up the pace of play with everybody else, they don't care if if you're a brand new golfer. They really don't.
The only times that I've gone, I'll just okay, you're done. Okay, I'm done too. So I'll just,
exactly.
It's for me, it's just another way to practice, is just getting out there and hit the ball.
Exactly.
Because I still need to hit my thing's always like, I need to hit the ball far, because I'm just little. But I know people my size that can hit the ball far. So that's my next, I can hit it pretty straight. I just need to hit the ball far. So that's my next adventure.
I can with my driver off a tee, but my short game sucks. But I can drive that ball like a mother. I've won longest drive competitions and stuff. Everything else stinks, but it's impressive. It looks good, like off the bat. They're like, "Ooh, she must be good."
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear that
I
sound.
am not.
I love that sound.
Oh yeah, that ding.
I know. I want that. I want that. So so Amy said, so what's up next for you, and like how can people reach you? So tell us a little bit about what's next for Todd Keirstead.
You know what? It's just growing the sport of ParaGolf. So ParaGolfCanada.com is the easiest way to get a hold of me. Just go on the website. You know what? We're going to be going into Variety Village soon. We're going to be working with some kids in the Scarborough area that are, have some, that are in an adaptive situation. We're going to be going into Grandview Children's Hospital in Durham. We're going to be going into the Ability Center in Whitby. And just growing the sport. We're actually working with some health professionals right now to make it. We're going to create a certification for health professionals to utilize the game of golf as part of their rehabilitation tools. So yeah, it's just growing it and keeping the momentum going. Hopefully the restrictions are going to break and we're all going to get into traveling. And if you have any corporate events and if I'm hitting any trick shots, make sure you come up and say hi.
Awesome. And how can people reach you again?
ParaGolfCanada.com.
And so they just go to the website and they can get all your contact information, or they can reach out to you on LinkedIn.
Exactly. And by the way, Leslie, I've been utilizing LinkedIn, and it is the best tool out there. It has opened doors up to individuals that would have taken me months to get in front of. So kudos to you and all the work that you're doing and the training that you're doing. And
she's the best.
Yeah, it is. It's a great tool if people are using it properly.
It's a lot of fun, and you're right. There's a lot more power to it than just I'm just job prospecting and that kind of stuff. So you're absolutely right. Networking, building business, telling your story, getting your story out there. It's all part and parcel for sure.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for the platform today.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. I'm so glad we had a guest host here, Miss Amy Riddell. This is the second time. The last time Amy came on, we interviewed a writer and producer.
Joel Cohen.
Joel Cohen,
the producer of The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Amy hangs out in pretty big circles, you see. So.
No, she does. I know. We have to spend more time together. That circle's really big.
Well, maybe another reunion, another high school reunion.
Yes, Mama.
Yes, Mama.
Yes, Mama. Todd, it was awesome seeing you.
Yeah, great to see you guys.
Congratulations on all your success. Well deserved.
Thank you very much. You guys keep on doing what you're doing. You guys are doing some great stuff. Amy, I know you just had wasn't there an anniversary that just came up?
Yeah, my 15th work anniversary was yesterday. I've been 15 years.
That is amazing. And Leslie, keep on Park. Make sure you know your self-worth and make sure people are paying you the big bucks because that's what you're worth.
No.
Right? That's what
I
it's all
love
about.
What I do. I just love it. I get to hang out with people like Leslie.
That's right. Yeah.
And all sorts of exotic destinations like Washington, D.C., Vancouver,
Orlando.
Orlando.
Yeah.
Boston.
Someone's pinging you.
I'm starting to plug my events now. I'm going to take this minute to plug Project World, BA World, coming live this year. Be there.
Administrative Professionals Conference of Toronto.
Administrative Professionals Conference of Toronto, June 8th to 11th at the Harbour Castle Weston. Registration's now open, featuring speakers like Leslie Hughes.
Oh, like me? Who? Me?
Oh, all right. I've got another podcast.
Okay, kids. Well, it was good seeing ya.
Great to see you guys as well, too.
Good
Thanks
seeing
again.
you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're the best.
Bye.
Later.
Out.